We focused last time on the providence of God in nature, in particular, the world that comes at us. Let me bore in a little more specifically on the difficult topic of sickness, disease, life, death, disability, and ask, how does the providence of God relate there? Now, let me admit, and indeed affirm, the reality of Satan in this world as a real agent, a real causer of pain and evil. He's a murderer, he's a liar. Revelation 2:10, behold, the devil is about to cast some of you, Christians, into prison so that you will be tested and you will have tribulation for 10 days. Be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life. So it seems to teach that not only can Satan throw Christians into prison, he can so orchestrate things that they die, and we should be faithful unto death. So I don't mean to minimize at all between the overarching providence of God and our experience, the reality of Satan in here doing his thing. However, Satan does not have absolute or final or decisive control in any of the things that he does. Deuteronomy 32:39, God says, see, now I am he. There is no God besides me. It is I who put to death and give life. I have wounded. It is I who heal. There is no one who can deliver out of my hand. Or 1 Samuel 2:6, the Lord kills and the Lord makes alive. He brings down to Sheol. He raises up. And most obvious is Jesus, the Son of God, comes into the world, and he is sovereign over all disease and over death. He heals all the diseases that come to him. He raises people from the dead. For example, Matthew 4, verse 23. He went throughout all Galilee, healing every disease and affliction among the people. Or Luke 7:14, young man, arise, and the dead man wakes up. Or Mark 5:41, Talitha cum, little girl, rise from the dead. Or Revelation 1:18, I am the first and the last, the living and the living one. I died, and behold, I am alive forevermore. I have the keys of death and Hades. Heals all diseases, raises the dead. In other words, the final decisive control over sickness and death is Jesus, not Satan. Even though Satan can make sick. Acts 10:38. Jesus went about doing good and healing all who were oppressed by the devil, for God was with him. Nevertheless, when it comes to sickness or disability or the way children are born, it is not Satan who has the final say. Exodus chapter 4, verse 11. The Lord said to Moses, who has made man's mouth? Or who makes him mute or deaf or seeing or blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Or John 9:1-3. Rabbi, Jesus, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? That's their assumption. Somebody sinned. It's his fault or is his parents' fault? Somebody's got to be blamed here. And Jesus said, it is not that this man sinned or his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him. God's at work here. He has a design here. Let's just look closing at Job. Almost everybody thinks about Job when they think about disease or death. So you know the story. He was a good man, better man than anybody in the land. Satan challenges God with respect to Job, right? And he says, Stretch out your hand. This is chapter 1, verse 11. Stretch out your hand and touch all that he has. He will curse you to your face. That's Satan to God. And God says, behold, all that he has is in your hand, only against him don't stretch out your hand. So you can go this far, Satan, no further. God is sovereign over Satan. So, without touching Job's skin, this is what happens. Sabaeans kill the servants and steal all the oxen and all the donkeys. Lightning strikes and kills all his sheep and his shepherds. And worst of all, a great wind hits the house. This would be like a tornado. Hits the house where all 10 of his children are partying, and every last one of them dies. And the news comes to Job, and this is what happens. Then Job arose. This is chapter 1, verse 20 and 21. Job arose and tore his robe and shaved his head and fell on the ground and worshiped. And he said, naked I came from my mother's womb, naked I will return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. He worshiped. He acknowledged the Lord has done this, even though Satan got permission to do it. Now, was he wrong? Some people say, oh, Job is wrong to say that. And the very next verse says, in all this, Job did not sin or charge God with wrong. It wasn't wrong. It wasn't sin for him to talk that way and to say, God has done this. I bow under it and worship my God. So Satan challenges God again, skin for skin. Let me touch his skin. He will curse you. Let me touch his skin. The Lord said to Satan, behold, he is in your hand. Only spare his life. So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord, and listen to this, and Satan struck Job with loathsome sores from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head. The text says Satan did that. Satan did that. God's in control. You can go this far, no further. Here's what Job says when his wife says, you should just curse God and die. Chapter 2, verse 10. Shall we receive good at the hand of God, or good from God, and not receive evil? Job, the text says Satan did it. And you're saying, shouldn't we humble ourselves and be willing to receive both good and evil from the hand of God? Job, that's wrong. And the very next verse says, in all this, Job did not sin with his lips. And the reason we know we're not misreading those verses that say Job was right to talk that way is because the end of the book, chapter 42, verse 11, goes like this. This is the inspired writer talking. All his brothers and sisters and all who had known him before comforted him for all the evil that the Lord had brought on him. That's the summary statement of the book of Job. And James, in the New Testament, writes about it like this. This is James 5:11. You have heard of the steadfastness of Job, and you have seen the purpose of the Lord, how the Lord is compassionate and merciful. So yes, God is in charge of all sickness, all disease, all life, all death, all disability. His providence is that pervasive. And when you trust him, through Jesus Christ, His mercy, His wisdom, His power, you will discover that it is merciful and compassionate.